Hey guys, welcome to today's show. We're talking about a little bit of a different topic today. And I talk a lot about structured exercise, the proper exercise program, a lot of the X's and O's of exercising. But today we're looking at a slightly different thing of the benefits of unstructured movement and play. And this is something that has come up over time for me. I know I've learned from plenty of other people that study this much more closely than I do, but there's a lot of benefits physically and mentally to following more of this unstructured movement, this idea of play throughout the day, of play as we were designed to play. Because if you're anything like the clients that I regularly work with, you're probably not getting enough unstructured movement. So a lot of people that I work with, they have no problem going to the gym for their hour of time. But when it comes down to the other 23 hours of the day, they're sitting on the way to the gym, they're sitting at home, they're working sitting down, they're just not moving enough. And there's actually been some things that have shown that that can create bigger problems sometimes even than not working out at all. If you perform some really high intense activities, think things like CrossFit or similar activities, and then you go sit all day, orthopedically, that's really not a good thing for your body. And most people are really sedentary aside from their time they spend training. And this can have huge negative consequences on your health and your overall well being. By not having more regular unstructured movement throughout your day, you run the risk of pain, joint or muscle problems, less results in your weight loss or leaning up, and reduced mental, physical performance and energy. And to fix this, it's time to implement some more unstructured movement into your routine. And today you'll learn about what that means and how to get started with doing more of it on your way to living a stronger and healthier life. First off, it'd be helpful to give a quick definition of what structured movement is versus what unstructured movement is. Structured would be things more like your gym activities, your workouts, any running or endurance activities, any formal mobility routines or corrective exercises you're doing. Pretty much anything you do that is means to an end. So you have a goal, you're trying to improve your mobility, you're trying to improve your endurance, your strength, you have workouts and movements structured around that. Now, the unstructured movements would be things like playing with your kids, running around with them, picking them up off the ground, playing sports, whether that's recreationally, competitively, being in activities that are very unstructured. When you're running around playing a sport or playing with a kid, you don't get to control things like you do with a goblet squat where you're controlled on the way down, you're controlled on the way up, you're moving all sorts of different directions, you're cutting, you're jumping, you're on the ground, you're off the ground. These are a little more fluid in nature. This can be simply movement for the sake of movement. So just your body feeling like it wants to move and getting up and taking a walk, doing some informal mobility routines of just getting moving because you feel like you want to move without necessarily the structure of, okay, I have to do, a 60-second hold on this mobility exercise, 60-second hold on this one. This is more just getting yourself moving. And the informal mobility routine that I like the best is go ahead and move around on a hardwood floor or something, and you'll find areas that are tender, areas that are stiff. If you're rolling you move onto your side and your IT band just kills you from simply laying on the floor, that's a good sign that you probably need some work. And that's a good way to informally figure out the ways that you need to be improving. Now, these unstructured are all things that are done without a necessary purpose or a goal. So like I said, it's movement for the sake of movement, because to put it bluntly, most people just don't get enough movement throughout their day. And this leads to things like less mental performance and energy, less longevity in the form of muscle, joint, or other orthopedic issues. It can lead to weight gain, it can lead to poor recovery, poor performance in the gym. And excuse me, if you're anything like me, I know how much easier it is to just follow a structured routine. I love routine. I love having it down on paper. I love knowing how much I have to do and going and attacking it. But I also know how much harder it can be to find the time or the awareness for unstructured movement. But by doing so, this is so beneficial, and you'll open up new possibilities physically and mentally as well. This play, this unstructured movement, gives us a lot of mental benefits in terms of creativity. They're finding things that just helps us with energy and these things that are really important for high performance in other areas of our life that go beyond the gym, that go to our workplace, to how we're showing up in our relationships. And this is something that the unstructured movement side of things that I have a lot of conversations with the clients I work with. both in our performance PT practice and with my remote coaching clients. I just had the convo the other day with one of my clients who is now working from home. He's a teacher, and he now has, with all the COVID stuff going on, more time at home. And his home gym's there, his equipment's there, and we're talking. He's like, "Yeah, no, I could totally, I could totally like go do some, pick up a kettlebell in between, or go hang from a pull-up bar, just do some squats or something," because you have the luxury of doing that, where we get caught in these rigid patterns of work where we might not have the luxury to be able to do that, or you might not even think about doing that. So being able to work that spontaneous movement into your day can really work wonders for a few different things. Because in this client's example, I'm excited to hear how he implements this over the next few weeks of getting in the work groove from home and finding ways to be moving. Because other clients who have done similar things and successfully implemented the unstructured side of things report things like less joint issues, less tightness, improved energy, and simply improved performance due to an improvement in mobility. So I love the example of, we can take a squat, or if you have a pull-up bar. Again, these are on the borderline of structured versus unstructured. We can argue either way, but the purpose being that outside of your time simply working out, you're getting some movement in. And that can be hanging from a pull-up bar for 30 seconds. That can be down in a bottom position of a squat for 30 seconds. The improvements in performance that come from being able to get in these better positions, because your mobility will improve, your connective tissue will respond to those things when they're done consistently. That leads to increased performance, and increased performance leads to more power output, more strength output, more muscle to be able to build. And those are all good things for the guys listening, looking to lean up, get healthy, get strong, and just feel good. So how can you incorporate more unstructured movement into your day? And I'm going to throw just a bunch of suggestions your way. So take or leave the ones that resonate for you, and run with those ones that seem like, oh yeah, I could try that. Leave the ones that don't. So first thing, don't overthink it. The whole point of unstructured movement is that it doesn't have structure. So don't overthink it. Don't feel like there's a right or a wrong way. Just simply think about moving more for the sake of moving. That might be a walk. It can be a bike ride for the sake of just feeling like you want to. It can be, getting on the ground, moving around, trying some squats in between work calls or something. There's so many ways you can do it. Just don't overthink it. Just start trying to move more throughout the day. Second piece, make it fun. It's called play for a reason. It should be something you enjoy. It shouldn't feel rigid. Sometimes I know workout programs and exercise routines can get a little stale. It can feel like it's something you just have to do. It's done at the same time. This should be fun. Do something fun. Watch a kid roll around and play and squat and move and crawl and do these things. They just enjoy doing it. And that's where there's physical benefits in that. And there's also mental benefits in stretching yourself, and just enjoying play and movement for the sake of it can increase your energy, increase your creativity. And those are all good things for a lot of reasons. Another thing, avoid long periods of inactivity. So this is just a good general rule of thumb. You should not be sitting in one place for definitely not 4 hours, probably not 2 hours, an hour maybe, but even just getting up quickly and doing a quick stretch, doing some kind of movement, do 5 squats or something, do some joint circles of just getting your body moving. Those can all work wonders for, said, both physical and mental benefits. So don't think you're going to lose productivity from it. You might actually be able to sustain your productivity for longer if you do that. Another thing, think flow type movements over specific movements. So think general full body movements where you're coordinating movement, where you're moving in and out of things, versus it's not necessarily do a hamstring stretch or stretch your lats out or do something like that. It's full body movements. Flow, moving in and out of different movements, is a great way to incorporate some more of that unstructured movements in there. If you guys want some ideas on this, you can search my name, Dave Pachkowski, 5-minute flow. So it'd be Dave Pachkowski 5-minute flow. Search that on YouTube. There's a free 5-minute video I put together there a long time ago that would just give you some ideas of what this would look like. It's a 5-minute routine. It's a full body thing where you're moving in and out of these different movements. And that's something that I've recommended for a lot of clients, those that are struggling with the question of, well, where do I start? The type A people out there are like, I want to plan for my lack of plan that I'm supposed to be having, a structure for my lack of structure. And that's perfectly fine. Follow something like that, go search that. And if you need some ideas on that. Next piece, try new things. This will stretch your mind. This will stretch your body. Picking up new activities, picking up a new activity or sport will force you to learn different movement patterns, expose where you might be limited. It'll force you to use different parts of your brain that or different movement patterns that will improve your performance and force you to mentally be stretched a little bit too. Think about the last time you tried a new sport and how awkward it felt at first, but sticking with it, your body picks up on these things quickly, and those can work wonders in a lot of ways. Work out outside or move outside, get in the grass, move around, go to a park. These are great ideas to expand your movement vocabulary, to try new things that might expose where you need more work. And I want to give a just real quick story here with a buddy of mine, DJ, who's known more famously as Strong Camps on Instagram, at Strong Camps, one word. Go search him and you'll know why. But this guy, I reached out to him because I was so intrigued by his style of training. Was so unconventional and so different that I reached out to him. I was like, hey man, I want to train with you. I want to go do what you do. So the first time meeting him, we went out to this big field behind his house, and we were just looking for rocks. And you'll see on his Instagram, if you go back to some of his older posts, we would pick up these rocks for the sake of picking them up and try to press some of them overhead or try and just move them, try and just budge some of them, the bigger ones. And this was so hard for me to do for someone that had a pretty strong deadlift, a pretty strong squat, but those things don't apply to lifting an awkward, heavy rock. And that's something that I'm sure if you only did that, I bet you that would have more carryover to your deadlift and your squat than squat and your deadlift would have to something like that. So that's just a quick example. I'm not necessarily advising you to go lift some heavy rocks on your own, at least, but it is something that, think of things like that. Think of doing things with unconventional objects and things that will challenge you in different ways. And that was a memorable experience. We did that a couple times and became friends off of it, because it's also, you're connecting in a different way that's even beyond what the weight room can necessarily give. So along with that, work out with someone doing something different than what you usually do. If you're a runner, try finding someone who's doing some body weight strengthening exercises or some different things. Try different styles of training and different group classes and things. If you need more structure to your unstructure, those can be great points to get you started in the right direction of still just doing some different kind of movements. Next piece, fix your work postures. I would say the next posture is your best posture, and that means that just frequently be moving. People say, oh, I have a standing desk, so I stand all day. And I tell them standing is still sedentary. If you're only standing, that's a little better than sitting, but that's still a sedentary position. You're not moving. So make sure you're throwing your foot up on different objects, you're sitting down, standing. If you can kneel, if you can walk around, do some stretches, that's more beneficial than standing or sitting in any one posture for too long. Next 2 points go hand in hand with each other. If you need help, either set a timer or set a trigger. Set a timer is pretty straightforward. If your goal is to move every half hour, then set a timer and make sure that when that goes off, you at least stand up and take a lap and maybe do a couple things. The other thing that is really like for people is setting a trigger. And this would be, a trigger would be, say, anytime you go to the bathroom. So anytime you go to the bathroom, you're going to do 5 squats and 5 push-ups. Again, there's lots of flexibility within this. There's lots of ways you can do that, but that would be the example of a trigger. Or same way at the top of the hour, I'm going to do the same thing. A few more things here. Another thing I like is called greasing the groove. And this is a popular strong first term and something that can work if you're trying to improve at a specific movement. You don't have to only spend the time in the gym during your training session to be able to improve that movement. Let's take a kettlebell press, for example. So instead of simply working on your kettlebell press, your overhead press while you're at the gym, so you have your, say, 1 hour of time to work on it, think about if you worked on it little by little over the course of the entire day and the entire week. I think if you had a kettlebell right next to your workstation, and every time you went to the bathroom, you came back and you did 1 or 2 reps, 2 perfect reps, full mobility, full range of motion. Think about what that would do for your shoulder health, for your mobility, for your strength. Those are ways to get some consistent movement in throughout the day, and especially good when you're trying to target a specific thing like an overhead press, like a squat. All those things would be good examples. Push-ups, if you're trying to improve in those. A few other things: walk to the grocery store more. If you have the luxury to do it, try taking a longer walk, or at least park really far away, and don't push the cart. Carry your things. You'll see new areas of grip and fingers and things get sore. And these types of things are fun ways to, well, I guess maybe my mind works differently than others. I think it's fun to do types of things that will challenge you and create physical benefits while also just getting you outside your mental rut, your mental routine a little bit. So another things that go hand in hand: get on the floor more, like I talked about earlier. Roll around, see where you're feeling tight, see where you're feeling limited, and get outside more. There's benefits to just being in nature that go beyond being in the gym, in terms of just getting your feet in some grass or some sand or different things can be really beneficial. Lastly, sum all this up, it's okay to add structure to the unstructure. So I talked about this for people that want some more guidance. Search that flow video. You can get some guidance from that. You can follow a yoga practice. If you're a weightlifter, go ahead and follow a yoga practice. You can do a gymnastics thing, a dance class, or other organized activity. Jump in a sport. It's okay to add structure to the unstructure, as long as you're not getting caught in just following a workout plan and sitting down or being relatively sedentary. Make sure to switch it up. And if you need some help doing that, go ahead and follow some of those things. So while structured activity and exercise has its place in everyone's routine, I hope it's made clear that the unstructured movement is absolutely necessary as well, and is often missing in most everyone I work with. So while there's no set way or right way to do this, I do want you guys to experiment with this, play around with it. Your physical and mental performance will suffer if you can't find a way that works for you. And by adding some more of this unstructured movement to your day-to-day activities, you'll feel so much better and set yourself up for long-term health and performance. And if you're looking for any help with adding more unstructured movement into your day-to-day, don't hesitate to reach out to me through my email, dave@iostrengthperformance.com. It's listed there in the show notes. I really encourage that if you guys want any help with this or any other similar topics that we talk about here on the show. I help guys all the time with finding the right balance of structured and unstructured movements to maximize health and performance, to feel better, to look better, and would love to help you do the same. So thanks for listening today, guys. Go out and go play. Go have some fun, and I'll see you tomorrow.